Hello, kia ora, and welcome to the Creative Matters podcast, where we have inspiring conversations with artists from Aotearoa, New Zealand. I'm your host, Mandy Jakic. Hi, thank you for joining us. Please excuse my rather croaky voice. I do have a winter cold, but it is a great chat with Sam Leitch, which I'm sure you're going to really enjoy. Sam Leitch is a contemporary painter and printmaker living in Tāmaki Makaurau Auckland. Sam sees himself as a storyteller of everyday life and the unknown, capturing time and combining commonplace objects and surrealist expressions to invite the viewer into the painting. He has always been fascinated with what makes a piece of art. The connection between the viewer, the artist, and the piece is a relationship which dominates his ever-evolving art practice. Sam and I have a great chat, firstly off-air about our dogs, my border collie Marley and his Staffy cross Mikey. On air, we also have a great chat about his experience studying fine art at university straight from school at the age of 17. And a life-changing experience he had at uni that still runs deep with him 16 years later and affects his art practice today. By the age of 24, he was represented by 2 Auckland galleries with a sellout first solo show, which marked the beginning of a full-time career as an artist. Sam shares why he likes to include birds in his latest work, combined with abstract shapes. His painting process, including how he uses resin to get a shine for some works and then sands resin back with 1000 grit sandpaper to create a tile-like hardness and flatness for some other works, enjoying the contrast that creates. We discuss his screen printing process and why he loves this medium so much. Sam is a part of a group show, Contemporary Creations of Colour, at Turua Gallery, with beautifully frank Frankie Meaden and Agate Rubini, Restless and Infectious. This gorgeous show starts tomorrow, Friday, August 23rd, with an opening event from 5 p.m, and runs until September the 4th, 2024. Ngā mihi nui, thank you very much, Turua Gallery, for generously sponsoring and supporting this episode. Hi, Sam.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. Beautiful day. Can't complain at all. Nice to be out here.
Yeah, it's lovely to have you out here. Welcome to the Creative Matters podcast.
Thank you very much for having me.
So welcome. And you've got your girlfriend Lizzie on the beach having a walk with the dog.
Yeah, she's taking Mikey for a walk up the beach.
Nice.
I've got the car, so she might have to wait for a little bit, but that's all good stuff.
Yeah,
at least It's not raining like it has been the last couple of days. So
and we've bonded over our dogs.
We have.
Had good dog chats. We sort of wondered if maybe we should just talk about dogs.
Could have had a dog podcast rumbling right now.
So, yeah, it's lovely to meet you. Thank you so much for coming to Muriwai. Really looking forward to hearing your story. You were born in Henderson in 1989. Can you tell us a little bit about your childhood?
Just called the back end of the 80s. My childhood, well, mum and dad owned a veggie store in Whenuapai. So basically we had an orchard out the back of that. So I grew up in the outdoors, pretty much free rein, blasting around the paddocks and enjoying days outside. So it was a lot of creative time as well, with mum being a teacher as well as having the veggie shop. So she, after school care, especially my sister and I, we spent a lot of time painting and drawing while she was still working. So that was probably my first outlet into the creative world, like drawing and painting some days after school, while she was working at school, and then we would go to the after school cares even prior to 5 years old.
Yeah. And what school was she teaching at?
She's actually still there. She's the principal of Hobsonville Primary School. So we're talking now 30 years ago. So
Wow. And what's her name?
Anne Leitch.
Yes, I know. I think I've heard of Anne.
Yeah.
Being an ex-teacher myself.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
There you go.
Oh, wow. So brought up by a teacher, always good.
Yeah. And at the Orchard, those two parts are quite, I guess, the starter of my art career was not really the starter of my art career, but the first sort of insight into where my creative journey started was on an orchard and going to art. That was my first sort of memory, I guess, of art, was like after school cares while mum was still working. I remember my sister and I, we were always drawing and painting. So that was like and I still have one of those little paintings actually.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
And where did you go to high school?
I went to Kristen.
So how did you find art at high school? Were you starting to really get your own style and sort of love art at that point?
Yeah, I think early on it was a big part for me was like photo. Like I judged myself on, I guess, realism was a big part. Like so portraiture and the human body and the face but even going back prior to that, I was just like any other, I guess, art student. I was just enjoying it. It was one of the subjects that I just enjoyed doing, and I kept doing it throughout high school. And I found myself, when I guess other students or kids were dropping off and going into maths and sciences, and it's like I just got those base ones done at fifth form, but I stuck with the art because I just enjoyed it, and I was, I guess, okay or good at it. So I progressed through sixth and seventh form doing it. They actually even made a subject. I dropped out of history, my history class, and they actually made a subject for me at school, sculpture. So it was just me in the class. I did painting and sculpture, which was awesome. But yeah, my main thing with painting was like photo realism. Like I wanted to make it as real, and I think that's how I judged myself and my artwork, like how my level of good was on how other people viewed it and how I viewed it as detailed. I guess I could get it and like say whether it was like a picture of something or a picture of a person or how someone looks. Let's say right now if I painted or drew you, I'd want it to be identical. But now I suppose over time that's changed for me.
And sometimes trying to make something realistic for some people, that's their sort of affirmation that they're doing okay.
Yes, and then I would judge that off the results I'd get, I guess.
After high school, obviously you're starting to feel quite comfortable and confident with your art, and you decided to study fine art at AUT in Auckland. Yeah, so you did a Bachelor of Fine Arts.
Yeah.
And specialised in painting. So you were there at 17, which is so young, really, isn't it, when you look back? How did you find that transition from high school into university?
I think at first it was when I went to leave high school, it was like, what am I gonna do? Like all your friends are going off in business and pharmacists, dentists, you name it, they're doing all these things, and I'm thinking, what am I gonna do? And I should do something I'm good at, and I loved it at that stage. It was something I was, it was a passion thing then. That transition was probably, the change was probably quite tricky for me, like going from being surrounded with like that close-knit group of friends and, you're so like know what's going on, know the people around you, that structure. So I did find that probably quite hard. And then it was the range of age as well. Now I look back, like I'd love to go back at this age.
Yeah.
I really, really would. But just that fact that I was 17 turning 18 and, like 17 to 20 or 3 years, how long the degree was, it does, I sort of, it affected me probably at the time, like unknowingly. Like now I look back and go, yeah, that did really probably, I didn't come out of my shell, and you're around people that were up to 50, 60 years old that were really engaged and involved, and I probably not shut down, but like I was like, I probably did have that mentality of not C's get degrees, but I did what I had to do to get through, and it was the first time I didn't really do well with my art. So that was a new thing probably for me. Like,
and you were being exposed to new things.
And it was like, and it was, and I was around people that really, really, not that my teachers at high school, because I'd credit them a lot, but you were really like put in the hot seat and critiquing and, that was really foreign and new to me. And I remember one, I won't name, she's an amazing artist. I remember her saying like, Sam, why are your paint so shit? And it was in front of all these people and it was just like a group setting like this. And I was just like, and at the time I was just like, in my mind I was like, I can't afford nice paints, like it is expensive, and I'm like on my bones as an art student, I guess. So like there was moments that you go like, and I didn't, like I said, I didn't come out of my shell. So I sort of like would go home and paint and work, and I only come in when I needed to.
It's a shame, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I look back, like I still did okay, but like I said, I'd love to go back now at this age and be engaged.
You could go back and do your master's.
Yeah, and like be involved and ask the questions and why. And I guess like from their point, like I look back and then that sort of has changed my trajectory though. Like that's what I do take away from it, like the idea and the thinking behind my work. And that was the idea that they were like, well, that's been done, like when I'm doing the portraiture thing that I was doing and like trying to, like what we were speaking about before, about trying to replicate something and I guess copy and like judge myself off that. And then their view was that's kind of been done. So like, what are you doing, but sort of implying that. Yeah. So it was kind of like, what? Geez, what am I going to do here?
And it's really hard when you're only 17 to start finding your own groove.
Yeah, and like then I'm like no one around. Not that it was like poor me or anything. Like it was just I was like, oh man, like, and I knew all my mates were out there in Dunedin having a blast, and they're all around each other, and even in Auckland, and like they're really focused on what they're doing. So I guess I don't want to sway anyone from doing it because it's just like get involved, and it's hard. But if you are going at that age, like back yourself and back your idea and ask the questions and believe in yourself more. And like
it is hard.
It is hard at that age.
It is hard. Yeah. I mean, that's the beautiful thing about getting older is you just become, more your own person, I suppose. You're still kind of hunting and searching at that age. You really don't have a lot of experience behind you.
No, I don't have any.
No, well, nobody does really at 17.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I wonder, if you had left it for a couple of years, do you think you would have found it easier?
Yeah, potentially. It's just whether I would have gone to it.
Back.
Like I wouldn't change anything now, but now I would go back because I had that experience then, and I'd love to, like you say, do my masters and be involved and ask the questions, and I think I'd gain so much more out of it. But I wouldn't change it. I just think if people are listening and they're contemplating, like still go for it, but just be engaged and be involved and ask those questions and ask why and back your idea. I think the idea, if you're really strong behind your idea, like, because I remember thinking like, what am I doing wrong? Like I don't understand why I'm not getting the marks like I did when I was at high school. It just was a massive change for me.
Yeah. And how did you find that with your confidence that it, I mean, you obviously carried on doing painting afterwards. You didn't sort of get put off, but how did you find it for your self-confidence?
I think I went away and, once I got the degree and graduated, like I guess a lot of my confidence has come from like everyday life as well with my art. Like my confidence was still there, and it was more like just love of art that kept it going, and it was like a passion thing on the side. So I went away and was enjoying, and I've been fortunate enough to do a lot of travel and bounce around and go surfing and enjoy the days, which correlates, I think, to my artwork. But the confidence was probably still there, but I knew it needed to go down like a different path or trajectory, needed to jump onto.
What did you do after university? Were you maintaining that painting practice?
I went to Canada, went to Vancouver and went to Whistler and spent 6 months there with some friends, and then bought a 1978 Winnebago, like an RV, and drove from Canada to Mexico and back over 3 months, and it was one of the best times of my life with a couple of really close friends.
Sounds amazing.
It was amazing. Oh, that's a full podcast in itself, but we'll jump straight into after that. And then I was just working in construction as a builder, and I was living in a little place in Grey Lynn. Not even that sounds really nice, but it wasn't actually. It was an art show. It was all good. It wasn't the fancy part, put it that way. But I was painting. I guess it was for the love of it, and it still is. But I was painting away in a little apartment, and I had these 4 people from the Czech Republic living with me, amazing people, in a small little place, and I was just painting in the living room, and they were cool with it. And I, on the side of working full time, I was doing that like as my extra just enjoyment.
So you were building in your 20s and having a good time doing cool stuff around the world. But how did you actually discover your art practice and start thinking of yourself as an artist?
I did this piece back in Grey Lynn, and I did a piece called Go that I did, and I took it in to show. I was like finally confident to show someone, like show a gallery. I took it in to show Melanie and Clayton at the Poi Room, and they liked it. And then within 2 months, I was having a show because they came and looked at some of my work, and it all happened quite quickly. And then Kieran from Smythe Gallery, he jumped on board, and he actually ended up. He was kind of looking at the same time, and he ended up buying a piece off. Funny story, he bought it off the Poi Room, wanted that piece Go. So then all of a sudden I was in 2 galleries, which was really cool. And I had a sellout show with Poi Room, and then I was represented by both of those. So that was my Auckland representation.
And what year was that?
2013. So I had the sellout show with the Poi Room. And then at the same time, it sort of happened really quickly over a couple of months after like being confident with my work. And then, yes, I was represented by those 2 spots.
It must have been so good for your confidence.
It was, like, and seeing people like connecting with my work. And that sort of did happen at university. Like someone bought a piece at university, and it was kind of like, even then I was like, oh, I could do this as my like job, my life, the enjoyment of what it brings, and someone wanted to put that in their own home. Like there's something really special to me about that, something that I can create and that someone would have in their life, in their everyday life.
Yeah.
So that's like a really important factor for me, like the connection that people get. But yeah, so I was represented, at 22, 23. And yeah, it was like, then it was kind of like I gave up my day job.
Yeah, so you were 24, and that's 11 years ago, and that was the beginning of your art practice, your art career.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, that was the beginning. I suppose there was an earlier beginning than that for me. Like there was a moment, like I said, at university where a lady bought a piece. And there was a little note on her work saying that she wanted to buy it, and I won't mention her name, but we met after there was like this little group show, and there was a note on one of my pieces, and I remember going, oh, this is pretty cool. And then like she met me out on the street, and she gave me $1,200 for this piece, and I was just like, and it was cash, but it wasn't just that. That was obviously a big part at 19 or whatever it was. She was like connected with her, like it brought back childhood memories for her, and like that was, and like she had like happy tears, and it was just like, whoa, like I could like do that to someone. I can make someone feel that good, or bring back a moment in time for them.
Yeah.
and like we had a hug, and it just felt so nice. It was like, oh, I like, that's like a feeling I like crave now, and I still do. Like that's something that's really important for me, like creating a piece of art that someone can connect on such a high level, and they like want it in their life, but it's also like bringing back an emotion or a feeling of happiness, joyness, or whatever it is that they can connect. Like I might have my own connection with it, but then they have their own story too. I find that part really interesting.
Yeah, it's really interesting.
So that was probably like, for me, as big as a moment as the being represented.
Yeah.
You know, like that's obviously really great and it's got me on the track, but like that moment to connect with someone over something I've created is really important, and it's still really important to me now.
Yeah. And that's probably something that's really
affected for me.
The person you are, or the artist you are.
Yeah, that's probably as important as, if not more important than the representation, to be honest.
And when you had that moment, did you think, I need to do this?
Yeah, that was probably more the moment that was like, I could do this and I need to do this. Like, you know, even at a young age, like maybe not. Yeah, like looking back now, I'm like, that's a really big moment. I've had an interview in an art magazine, and it was like, I said the same thing. Like, that's probably the biggest moment for me. Like, and I hope this lady's listening. We haven't connected since that moment, you know.
Oh, it'd be great if you could track her down.
Yeah, it's a really big moment for me.
Yeah. Oh, well, if you're listening, you can get in touch with Sam.
Yeah, I'll be stoked.
With me.
Yeah.
How incredible. That's a really beautiful story.
That's like 16 years ago now.
So I guess having such early success like that at age 24, I guess that was enough for you to really believe in the idea of being a full-time artist. And what was your art like at that point?
It was definitely a lot looser than what it is now. I guess freedom and really like, I guess, emotions and what I was feeling and my everyday life and everything that was around me and stories. And a lot of people ask me all the time, like, where do I get my inspiration from? And, you know, it's not like I go out and I'm not an artist that goes out and like sits in the bush or goes for a walk to get inspiration. It's more just like probably my friends and family and things that are happening around me all the time. You know, like I bring that back to the canvas and paint my everyday life, and I create stories, and I get my inspiration from my life, basically.
Yeah. I guess it would be really good to talk about what your art looks like. Can you describe your paintings to start with?
Well, right now I actually have a show opening up, a joint show opening with Restless Infectious and Frankie Meaden this Friday, and the works I'm working on for that and my artwork at the moment is like that. I've got these circular pieces, and it's sort of like capturing a moment in time, and a lot of it has epoxy resin on it. I guess that's simplified from my older looser work. A lot of vibrant colours and like golds come in quite a bit lately. So, and it relates to also the conservation side of things with birds, because like birds, if you know my work, but if you don't, there's a lot of birds. Seems like I'm like this crazy bird person. I think they're the people though. That even sounds more crazy. But so there's birds in there, and they're like connected together via their tails, and then there's, whether it be a vibrant circle or square, I guess I'm sort of cementing them in a moment, and then those vibrant colours bring that out. Once again, like I said before the podcast, I'm better at painting the pictures than talking about it.
And you seem to connect the birds with, you know, line and shape and form that is quite geometric, which I really love. I love concentric circles. There's something about that bullseye kind of look that I've always really loved for some reason.
Yeah, I'm just like going, and then my mind can be quite repetitive, but I like love that circular shape or the square, and it seems like a window to me, or an eye, or you know, and it's, even though it's so simple, like it's a beautiful thing. And I love color, you know, like I love vibrant colors and colors that can bring an emotion or a feeling, or one time this collector said to me, "You've got too happy," because I used to do wine bottles, like lots of wine bottles in my work, and their work was a lot darker.
Really?
He came up to me, he goes, "I've been following your work." He came to one of my shows and he was like, "You're way too happy now." Definitely at the moment it's vibrant colours, or I like sand some of my work back. Like with the epoxy resin, I get like 1,000 grit sandpaper and I cut part of it back on some pieces, so it creates like, especially with my calm chalky colours, then I get a cut, like, so it takes the shine off, but it makes like a matte tile. Yeah, if you do touch it, it feels like a hard tile on the ground, but it like kind of cements it.
Yeah.
In some sort of way. So I just cut that top of the shine off, and then I get a car buffer and then buff the piece back, so it creates, like I said, to me it resembles a matte tile, and so it's like the artwork's like hard.
Yeah.
There's something quite beautiful about that.
Yeah, I love that idea.
So like a piece that I've got this Friday, it has the inner circles completely gloss, and then the outside's like not foggy, but like a tile, it feels like.
Yeah.
You know,
That's a really cool effect, and I've always loved that gloss and matte combination too.
So that's something that's, if you can visualize that, like I was saying to you earlier, I'm like a visual person. So if you're visual out there, it's like a gloss matte tile like combination, or just the whole matte, or just the whole gloss. Like a lot of my calm chalky colored works, or pastels I should say, like they are usually like I sand them back and they look, I don't know, just to me, I like that.
Yeah, it's just something different.
And people connect with that, and that's cool.
It's quite unique. And the way that you use shape, sometimes within your circles you have you split the circles up, so there's different divisions or different sections of different colours. And that seems to be a real sort of Sam Leitch kind of feature. Yeah,
it does seem to be. I guess the simplified, like I go back to those old works you're asking me about, and then like the bird was still there in this piece I wish I had it just so you could see what I'm talking about. And then now I've just like brought that back and refined, and now I'm just highlighting that.
And what is it about the birds? Why are you painting birds?
There's a couple of reasons now, but I mean, one of them was probably, like we spoke about earlier, was the people. I was always into portraiture, and maybe that sounds a little bit crazy, but I think they're the people, they're the people in my work, because whether that, once again, is a moment in time, like it might be a story or something I've done in my day, or I'm trying to highlight, and then sometimes you'll see that in the titles of my work. So it's like a moment I've had in my life.
And are you thinking of people is it almost like you're sort of personifying the bird?
Yeah, like it. Yeah, I think so. I'm sort of personifying the bird and then bringing it back, and it's like in a human form or something, like how I think about it, but I want people to think about it on their own level. But one day I would like to branch back into doing people, like actual people. Yeah. But then there's also this other side, which is a big part probably over the last couple of years, is I guess like the conservation and highlighting how beautiful New Zealand is, and like we're really lucky here. I was lucky enough to go on a boat trip down in Fiordland, and I talk about it quite a bit on my social media channels. It was a really big part probably. It highlighted more so about the birds, and once again, how beautiful it is, and we've got to take care of this country, that's really important to me. Like that techie I painted, I did a piece called In Two Minds, and it was basically about these people that saved the South Island saddleback and took it, like made these, sacrifices and put it over on little refuge islands. And then now the birds, it's a beautiful bird that's flourishing all over the South Island, and they're in the North Island as well. It's just people out there that are taking care of the spot. Like I like to highlight that, they're pretty important, and we need people like that. And I love New Zealand, and I want to keep it beautiful. Like there's something about my work that, like I want to highlight that.
Yeah, that's great. And why do you think you like to bring the birds in with the circles and the squares?
I think that all started with that piece tui at my window, which is about a tui that was at my window when I was living in Birkenhead. It just came from a window and then once again solidifying that in the window. And then I guess with the circles, that's just evolved from that. I can't explain how that's why I do the circles.
And so it's kind of bringing a modernity to it in a way, isn't it? And taking those birds to another place that maybe other artists haven't. Because there are a lot of artists who paint birds. But you have something really quite unique in your style.
Thank you. That's really nice. Yeah, it's something I do like the idea of morphing two styles, like something with putting, let's say, a detailed or my version of a bird in another space. There's something I'm quite drawn to like that. Like you say, the bullseye, like let's bring something in here and see if that works. So I do like to capture that moment, I guess, and like you say, birds, I'm not painting them out there in nature. Not that there's anything at all wrong with it. There's so many beautiful artists that do that. But like I like the idea of bringing one thing and then putting it in another space and then bringing those two together for people to see and see how that works and if they connect with that, because I do. Yeah. And that if they can connect with that on their own level and then like, well, I've never seen something like that before. Like that's, I've achieved success then in my mind. Yeah. But it's more so about them connecting with it on their own level. And it is simple, but there is a story there. There's a story there for me, and I hope there's some story there for the viewer. And that's another, that's a really important part of my work, like the connection between the viewer, the artwork, and the artist. If they all gel, then that's good. But it's okay if it doesn't as well. I've learnt that over. At first I judged that off by getting the red dots and getting the sales and, if you don't like my work, it must be about me. But now I'm okay with that. Yeah. I'm okay that if you don't like it, that's cool too. That's just how it is. That's fine.
That's great that you've got to that point.
Yeah, like, it's sweet. Either way is fine.
You're painting like, for you. And
yeah, it's like music. Not everyone loves the same songs.
Yeah. Which is a good thing, isn't it?
Really? Yeah.
And when you think about your titles, like Let Me Dream, Connecting the Bubble, On the Green, In the Pink, so sometimes you are referring to the colours that you've used. But then there's other ones like That Was Orange Sky, Late Into the Night, We Got Stuck in Miami. Yeah. There's lots of really interesting titles. So are you trying to give the viewer a little bit of a clue about what you're thinking?
I guess I'm giving it an insight to what that connection for me is. Yeah. Like what it actually is to me, or like that's the story to me. But I'd never want to take away from what they connect with it too, Like, so I've never been someone that writes like a couple of paragraphs. I don't give the story because I don't want them to be like, oh, geez, I'm not into that. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I don't like that story, so I'll give them an inkling because I'm giving it a title. But unless they ask, I can talk about it if they ask, but I'm not out there, I want them to have their own connection with it because I don't want my connection with the piece to take away from their feelings. Yeah. I want them to have their own thing, and relate to the artwork there in their own way, and if it brings up that feeling, it could be completely different to mine, and that's a beautiful thing.
It is. And even the title sometimes can take somebody down another path.
Yeah.
And then they start to look at the artwork in a different way, and then it all connects.
Yeah, it all connects totally.
Which is quite a cool thing.
Yeah. So you never want to take away to what they're feeling.
And why do you think quite often your birds are connected? It often is two birds with connecting tails, I guess you could say. Sometimes you just do single birds, but there's a really distinctive shape of the two birds with the connecting circle. Is there anything behind that?
It's funny. Lately, I did that a work that In Two Minds one, and I didn't even mean to. Like, someone was like, "Oh, it's a smiley face." I was like. And as soon as I said that, I was like, oh, my God, how have I not seen that? How, like it's so obvious. I guess it's like that's a connection or like a comfort or togetherness. It's symbolic that they're together, like a partnership maybe. I haven't thought so much about why they are connected.
It's maybe just even a purely symmetrical balance.
Yeah, the balance
idea.
thing probably. Like it seems like that works together with those birds or their connection. I want them to be together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's very effective. It just kind of ties in so beautifully with the circles. It just kind of seems to make sense. It's almost like you're bringing a sort of geometric, abstract concept to the birds, but you still are capturing the bird. What is your process for creating the birds?
A lot of it's in my mind, to be honest now. Like unless I'm making or painting a new bird that I haven't done before, but like I can just paint it freehand in my head, basically the tuis at the moment.
How do you go about building a painting?
There's a lot of layering for me, like just building up. So I'll build up the entire background and then I'm finishing with the bird. So I've got the idea of what it's going to look like. I used to go in and not know, but now I can sort of most of the time, I feel like 90% of the time I know what's kind of going to happen, or I can already visualize it a little bit. There's a tui just out there actually.
Oh, he's come to see you.
Yeah. So I can already see it, but like I just paint it. I don't know how to answer that one. I just paint. I can already visualize what I'm doing. And sometimes I'm already thinking about another work as well. Like while I'm working on it, especially like if I've got a show or art fair coming up or something like that, I'm already working on like what's ahead. So it's something I need to slow down on probably and just focus specifically on that piece.
Do you ever work with more than one piece at a time?
Definitely. Like right now I'm working on 6. So I've got quite a full mind all the time.
What do you like about having more than one on the go?
I know I can do it. Like I like that busyness. I like that for my brain. It's really good. Like it's not like I can't put all the energy into that. Like I could do more. I like bouncing between colours, and like my studio I can bounce around and I can have, that's so good for my brain to like, I've got quite a busy brain, so I can bounce in and out of works, and yeah, I love it to be honest. Like I love painting. It's just the best for me. Like it's I guess it's like people love meditation, I find it really relaxing, but I like the pressure as well. It's a funny one. Like I like the calmness, but I also like the pressure, like the pressure of a show, the pressure of an art fair. Like it brings out my best.
And how do you create those perfect circles?
I have this. I'd love to say that it's like I can just do it by off the cuff, but I've got these cool little compassy things that I've made up. Basically, like a piece of timber with a little nail at the end, and I can just spin those around and make some nice circles. Basically,
perfect. And
but then I just go follow around like,
and you paint inside.
I freehand, but there's a line that I'll reveal that it's not just me off in my mind just painting a perfect circle.
I don't think anyone could do that.
Yeah,
but you, I mean, they're so perfect. Your painting is just so perfect. I can't wait to actually see.
I should have brought one
in the flesh. Yeah, well, I'll see it on Friday.
Oh, you coming?
Yeah, I'm coming.
Perfect.
To the opening.
I do have some nice circles there.
Yeah.
And you'll see my screen prints as well. But yeah, it's
I love circles. And how do you do, there's beautiful works like the blue huias under the golden moon, that sort of gorgeous textural gold around the circle. Is that actually just a reflective thing, or is it a pattern that you've made in the gold?
That's underneath the epoxy, so it's like created that effect. It's a Montana gold spray paint. So that's what's
beautiful.
done there.
Do you ever use stencils?
No, never. And I never usually, that's the first time I've used spray paint, is that gold doing that. I've never really ever used spray paint, but I love the effect that
That was
with
a really interesting effect.
Yeah, like I loved it, and other people have as well, which is always nice. But that gold is done with a spray paint, but then the resin epoxy over the top, sort of like solidifies it and holds it, and it's kind of like a brassy bronze feel to it, and it's quite
it's very metallic. And how do you keep the spray paint in the space? Did you use a stencil or did you tape up for that?
Oh, I taped it up for that.
You'd have to do that.
Yeah, I taped it up and then I repainted around to make the edge nice again.
Do you like that curvy, thin tape that you can use to run circles?
You know, that's crazy. I've never used it.
You've never used it?
Where do you get that?
Gordon Harris, maybe?
Oh, geez, I need to get that. I'm out there doing little pieces.
Oh, really?
Oh, no, I need to get the curvy stuff.
It is good, but it's quite hard. Well, you get used to it, I think, but it's quite a technique to get that perfect sort of curve because you've got to kind of move it around yourself and get it.
That would save me
spot.
so much time.
Yeah, try it.
Yeah. I should have already tried that.
It's really interesting to talk to you about your painting practice, but you have it also alongside your painting, a screen printing part of your practice.
Mm-hmm.
So can you tell us how that fits in with the painting and how you make that happen?
I got invited to go out to Art Right with Glenn and the team out there. I think that it fits in and it just works so well. And another thing that I've fallen in love with, just the painterly side to screen printing. And I don't think a lot of people are aware, like printing, there's so many different aspects to it. But with screen printing, for me, it's like recreating a painting. And then like the separations, because all the separations I do are done by hand. So I'll break it down. And usually my works are about 10 to 20 different colours. I guess it's the painterly aspect to screen printing is something that really appeals to me, like breaking a piece down and then watching it then come back alive and the colours. And there's something like nice about paper as well to work on. There's something quite beautiful, and then behind a nice frame with art glass, and there's something really, I want to say really sexy about a nice piece of art. It is. It's beautiful.
Totally, I agree.
And
like it's so much more personal, isn't it, than just a print?
Yeah.
You've got your hand in it.
Yeah, definitely. And each one's individualized, because I think people have this conception that it's like, oh, that's just a print, but it's actually like a really high level piece of art. One of the Carl Morn pieces was getting done in the background, and it's the most beautiful piece of art. I think the most beautiful screen print I've ever seen. I actually had to buy one. It was like, it's called Rata Road, and I bought it off Gal Langsford. This is such a beautiful piece of art, and screen printing it's such a high level, and it's like there's like those people are masters out there. They've spent their whole life or trade just building these beautiful pieces of artwork, like that's where all the heavy hitters of New Zealand art have produced work, and it's just, I'm so fortunate to be there, but I've fallen in love with the practice. It's definitely not a chore going out there. I love it, and it's... So
you're quite involved, because Art Right often do the screen prints for some people, don't they? Are you actually quite involved yourself?
Yeah, I go out there and I like to be there as well. Like I even go out and I do my separations out there. Like I'll take my artwork and I like the whole vibe of being there. And then I'm involved, like we'll have my original painting or the idea for the screen print, and then so I'm like there working with Bruce or Glenn or Talisi or whoever it is out there. We colour match and get it exactly, I guess, how we want it. Like I see them part of it as well. They're a big part of it. But yeah, the hand separations is quite important, because I get like it's a painterly feel for me as well.
And how do you actually take a painting that is a painting already, like an original painting, and then turn that into screen printed versions? Yeah,
so I'll do my painting. This is how I do it. Other people do it. There's different ways to do it, but how I do it is I'll do a painting and then I'll go out there, and then let's just say it's a 15 color screen print. I'll have like a plastic film, and then I'll go over the top, put that piece of plastic on my painting, and then I'll do one colour and I'll paint that all out, and then I'll do the next colour on a different piece of plastic. So 15. So I've broken every colour down to recreate this piece, and then one at a time that film will get transferred onto a silk screen, and then that colour gets pushed through. So we do a run of 30, was my last piece. So 30 gold circles will go through, and then 30 black backgrounds will go through, and then 30 turquoise over the bird will go through, then the orange 30. So it's a really time process, labor intensive, and there's like lots of, for them it's like washing the screens, doing the color, so it's not just like a boom, there it is sort of thing.
What a beautiful process.
Yeah, then I've like, every time I do it, I like to think of myself as a perfectionist. I'm just trying to get better every time, and I think I have been. Like, you look back at my first one I did, that's 2016, I think, 2015. I feel like I've come a long way since then, like with the hand separations. Yeah. And just I met Michael Smither out there, and just to be around like Max Gimlet one time, it was just like, whoa, this is pretty cool. Like you're just like, yeah, and I'm here, and you're like a New Zealand art legends. Yeah. Like Michael Smither, like, whoa.
And it's a great way, isn't it, to add to what you're selling?
That's the other side of it, like, it's probably, even though it's not cheap, like it's still an affordable way to buy art or collect art if you were interested in spending that price point of, depends where you're at, but, willing to spend $800 to $1,500. It's a bit more of an affordable piece of art to buy.
And it still feels like a special
definitely.
Piece of work that's been created. Yeah,
and I've got collectors that buy my screen prints, and they're stoked. They love it, and I love that. And I sent some works over to Chicago earlier this year, and you get a photo back, and it's on someone's wall above their fireplace, or Aussie, or and it's a different way of collecting art. Like, I wish I could afford really nice art, but my girlfriend and I's first piece of art is a Carl Morn screen print, and I'm stoked,
Yeah.
So there's that different level,
And I think it's still just as special.
Yeah.
How many editions do you normally run?
The last one I did was 30. Prior to that, 50. Then I did a 2 colorway, which was 25 each. So 30 to 50.
Yeah.
The last one was 30, and I've done some single editions, which you'll see on Friday, of this Into Minds piece. So I did 10 single editions, so 101s, like with another paint over the top, like freehand on the screen. So like I worked on the screen rather than a separation. So it was a separation directly on the screen.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that's the first time I've done that.
Yeah.
Which
Did you like that process?
Loved it. Absolutely loved it. And people have taken to those as well, which is really nice. And just every time I go there, I fall in love with it even more.
That's so good. Can you ever see yourself just screen printing, or would you always keep the painting?
Just doing screen printing? Oh, that's a good question. I think I'll always paint, but I'd like it's another, I guess, string to my bow.
Yeah.
But like for the love of it, both, I think I'll do both now. Like I'm really, really into it.
It's great that you've got those two parts of your practice in a way. It's just, breaks not the monotony, but, it just adds a little bit of contrast to your practice.
And it's nice to be around like-minded people sometimes, rather than being just in your studio and like in your own thoughts and in your own mind. It's nice to connect with people that are also making art, in a sense. And
do you think you got to screen printing because your works kind of lent themselves to that process?
I think so. I do believe so. Like, it's kind of like, use the word correlate again, it's like gone through the process that entire time, and I've just sort of like jumped into that during it, and it's sort of, and I won't lie, like it's been something that's financially been able to keep keep the ball rolling, like on the side, like that has definitely helped. Keep sharing it, there's like, I feel like a lot of artists would know it's like a bit of a roller coaster, ups and downs, like any job too. But yeah, it does. It has always been, not always, but it's been there on the side, and I feel like it's progressed with me.
Yeah.
And it's still progressing with me. So I will, to answer your question, I will keep painting, but I think that will definitely be I'm a painter, screen printer was what I'd call myself now.
Yeah. That's brilliant. So good that you've discovered that.
I'm stoked. Love it.
Yeah. Oh, your work is just really stunning, and it even, feels even more special to me now that I've spoken to you about it.
Cool, thank you. That's really nice.
Yeah, it's really cool. So I did notice on your website, which is very good, by the way, your website, samleitch.com.
Yeah, I won't take credit for that part.
That doesn't matter.
I can do the paintings part.
Yeah, that's you got it sorted. That's the thing. That's the main thing. But on there is a section that has news or press. So you've had a lot of, you show your exhibitions that you've had really nicely. I think it's visually, it's a really nice website to look at.
Thank you.
But the press just really impressed me because you have been in quite a lot of magazines and had articles written about you, and, you've been featured in various publications like the New Zealand Herald and the Denizen and the Viva.
The New Zealand Herald one, I'll start with that. That was for the charity event for the Big Egg Hunt. I don't know. They just took a photograph and someone contacted me. So that one came about. I don't know how to explain that one, but that one just sort of happened, and then I was in Viva because of that.
I love the one to watch in Viva.
Yeah.
Wow.
I can't even explain. That one just happened.
Well, that's quite a nice one, isn't it?
Yeah.
One to watch. Get your culture fix this weekend at an exhibition by emerging artist Sam Leitch.
Yeah, that one. See, those things at the start kind of just happened. Like, I suppose that one happened around the time when my career was starting to take off. Like the NZ Herald one, I got invited to that event, and then someone came over and asked, like, hey, can we do an interview and take this photo? And that one just happened. And I think the Viva one came from that. That's
so good. And do you find that kind of marketing, does that ever lead into sales, do you think?
I never quite know, because I don't always know where my art goes and where the people come from. But sometimes you hear people like, oh, I saw it in Remix, or I saw it in Denizen. Like Denizen did a few features on me, which was really amazing. Like that was, I guess I sort of, it was a relationship that maybe it happened outside of my art, and then I knew someone and I built a relationship, and then was like, hey, I'm doing this, and then they'll reach out and go, oh yeah, like send us some images, and then it sort of spirals from that, rather than, I'm sure the one with Remix was through a friendship. But
it's just good to get yourself out there, though.
Yeah, get yourself out there.
However you can.
Yeah, exactly. And then it might be something little, and then you build it's all about relationships, I think. And then you build a relationship and you go, hey, I've actually got this exhibition coming up. And these are the photos, and then they might come back and not work it straight away. And then in the future it might. So you don't know exactly where the people come from, but I have heard people go, like, I saw in the culture section of Denizen, like you're having an exhibition, or so you never know, right? And it's like, and we live in such a online world, so people probably are seeing stuff. Like, do I know if it probably has correlated to a sale? I don't.
Yeah.
Or someone coming, and that's cool. Another set of eyes looking at it. That's what it's all about.
Quite likely. And how do you find social media?
That's probably been, a struggle for me, but I am getting on top of that. I probably should have been behind that more 5 or so years ago or more. But my partner, Elizabeth, has been a major positive for that lately, because it does work. It does. You get more people, and it's a big world out there, and I have, because I enjoy so many other aspects in life outside of art, so I do get distracted easily. So I'm not someone that's out there documenting all my art and doing all that and showing the world all the time. That's why I've got my website. But it is a nice way to show people what I am doing, and people can connect with me if they'd like to. But yeah, I think it is really good. I think it's good in a couple of senses, like for people to see. But there is a part of me that's like, well, you're only seeing it on a little screen. Like, I want you to see my work in real life, because it is flat on a screen, and it's small, and it's the textures and the size and the scale and the color, and there's so many different other elements that come into play with, I think, a lot of artists' work, but especially I feel like mine, like, because the epoxy or the detail or
some of those things are lost, aren't they?
They're lost, and when
the
you're
screen.
going, hey, let's look at it on a little iPhone, it can be you're not really getting it. And I have had that feedback in the past from gallery owners, like, you send images, and I have got better at that. Like, I use Heath out at Freon, like when it was me at the beginning of my career. I suppose this is advice or insight. Like, it's good to take high quality photos and, show your work at the highest level, to because I've had that feedback of like, oh, it's a little bit flat in the images, and then like they're surprised once I send it to them.
Yeah.
Oh, that's quite a big difference to what you sent me in the images. Like, I've definitely had that feedback in the past, so I'm very aware of that. That's sort of jumping away from social media, but
Yeah.
I do think that's like the world we live in. So if I can show more people, because especially where like in little old NZ, like you've got, feels big to us, but if you can get out
to reach out,
like, I think that's really important, like
Definitely.
to reach out to the big world that's out there, because we're pretty little down here.
And you are with Turua Gallery, and that's where you're having your show,
Yes.
which starts on Friday, the 23rd of August, opening at 5 p.m. That's 2024. So, yeah, really looking forward to seeing that. Nice group show with, as we've said, Frankie Meaden and Agate Rubini, who I've spoken to. That's going to be great. And then are there any other galleries that you're represented by across New Zealand?
I have little bits and bobs. Like, I have some screen prints that are down with the Boyd Dunlop Gallery. I also have she's just opened back up, actually, Sally and Grant. They had that small works in Matakana, so now they're in Warkworth. So she now has some of my work, but I'd like to go somewhere international now. Like, that's definitely on my radar. But yeah, in New Zealand, those are my spots.
And what's your plan for going international?
To work on, but I'm actually doing the other art fair in Sydney, so it'd be awesome if something comes from that. I guess it's about reaching out and building relationships, I guess. Like, that's how it's always worked for me, so I guess sticking to that, whether it be in Australia or I don't know where. Like, I'd love to be with a gallery. Like, I love my New Zealand galleries. I love being with Liz at Turua and Sally. Like, Sally's great for me to work with. I'd love to be in a place that would take me to art fairs around the world. That's something that's definitely a goal of mine, or something I'd like to do as an artist. I'd like to achieve that and be around artists that are exhibiting around the world. Like, that's something that I'd like to produce for. Like, there's something that I'm really drawn to, and showing to that bigger crowd. And so when that happens, I don't know. Like, I love for that to happen. So that's a work on at the moment, how I get there.
And do you think that is about connecting with the right gallerist?
Yes, I think so. I think it is.
You need to be under their umbrella a bit.
A little bit, like, I think so. To have that umbrella, like, it's I found that you do need that not for people to take you seriously. That's not it. But yeah, you do have that umbrella is nice.
And they've got the connections
They've
too.
got the connections, like I don't have the gallery in the nice spot, and I don't have, I have collectors, but that only goes so far, like you do need that.
Absolutely. Okay, so we are going to go to the questions. We did think maybe we could go to the dogs, but we're going to leave the dogs for today. Maybe we'll have a dog podcast at some stage.
Yeah, for sure.
But
I'd be up for that.
let's talk about these questions. So what would you say to your younger artistic self?
You were right to do your thing. You were right to keep pushing for what feels right to you. You were right to create your own definition of success, accomplishment, and happiness in this lifetime.
Nice. Beautifully prepared answer.
Thank you.
And what would you say is some of the challenges of being an artist?
There's definitely a few challenges. To be in a prolific creative space and take the necessary actions to promote my work at the same time. Creatives need to spend time doing nothing to refill their creative battery. It's not laziness, it's intentional rest.
Why do you make the type of paintings you make?
I love finding a way to connect with people and connecting with myself. Squeezing every little bit of life, the moments, the memories, what we experience, and wherever the imagination takes us. I believe in living this life to the fullest.
And where do you see yourself in the next 5 years?
Just like I said before, like going to art fairs with a gallery, still exhibiting throughout New Zealand. But I'd like to get into be represented by a gallery internationally. Like I said, that takes me to art fairs. That'd be super amazing. Painting to a high level, still even higher. My screen printing as well. Like I'd really want to progress with that even more and master that. And just enjoying every day, and I want that to correlate to my art. And the main thing would be representation outside of New Zealand, and just using still using really high quality products, and like the integrity in my work, and being loyal to all my collectors and progressing forward. It's really important to me.
Yeah. Brilliant. Well, Sam, it's been a joy to meet you. Lovely to have you in the studio.
Thank you
it's always
very
good
much.
to have someone in true life to speak to. And you have to excuse me in my croaky voice. I hope I haven't been too annoying with my coughing. It's been great to meet you, and really interesting to hear more about your practice. And I can't wait for the show starting on Friday.
Thank you very much. I'm very happy to have come along, and thanks for having me in your beautiful studio. It's very nice. Thank you.